So today we have Matthew chapter 14, verses 13 to 21, 5,000 men fed. Now when Jesus heard about John, he withdrew from there in a boat to a secluded place by himself. And when the people heard about this, they followed him on foot from the cities. When he came ashore, he saw a large crowd, and felt compassion for them, and healed their sick. Now when it was evening, the disciples came to him and said, "This place is secluded, and the hour is already past to eat. Send the crowds away, so that they may go into the villages and buy food for themselves." But Jesus said to them, "They do not need to go. You give them something to eat." They said to him, "We have nothing here except 5 loaves and 2 fish." Then he said, "Bring them here to me." And ordering the crowds to sit down on the grass, he took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looked up towards heaven. He blessed the food, and breaking the loaves, he gave them to the disciples, and the disciples gave them to the crowds. And they all ate and were satisfied, and they picked up what was left over of the broken pieces, 12 full baskets. There were about 5,000 men who ate, besides women and children. In this section, Jesus withdrew himself into a secluded area after hearing of John. The crowds left the cities and followed him. He had compassion on them and healed their sick. He also miraculously fed the 5,000 with him, with 5 loaves and 2 fish. There were 12 baskets of leftovers. Here we can see that even when you follow Jesus into the wilderness, he is willing and able to take care of your needs, spiritual and physical. There are seasons in our lives when we hear stories like this, right? We hear of God's faithfulness and how he is capable and willing to do things like this. And sometimes we ask ourselves, is he doing it for me? Is he willing and able to do it for me? Yes. You might ask yourself, why hasn't he? What is wrong with this time right now that he can't do it right now, knowing that I am in need of provision, whether that be food or however, right? And I want to remind you that this mindset, this mind frame is wrong. That desperation, that depression and feeling of inadequacy and of just this feeling that you need it to be rushed, you need it now, is not from God. That is something that comes only from the devil, and he wants to rush you into something you may not be prepared for. Now, this is kind of going off topic a little bit with what this section has, but consider what happened in this section. Jesus was willing and able and performed a miracle to feed them all. The disciple says, "How are we going to feed them all? There are 5 loaves and 2 fish." And he said, "Well, you feed them. Here you go." He blesses them and has them pass the food around. They could have, for all we know, been like, "There's no way this is going to work." But it just shows the power of God and how no matter what we may think is the right move, he knows what's truly the right thing to do. Take that with you. Consider it. And I hope you learned something today. We'll see you tomorrow.